Hey, what's up, everybody? I know majority of you are asleep, but wow, been informed that Akira Toriyama has passed away, creator of Dragon Ball. Wow. Huh. I wrote on my Facebook how it's kind of sad being in a world where you don't have Stan Lee anymore, and now you don't have Akira Toriyama. Wow. Talk about your whole childhood. Sheesh. What's up, Snowman? Like I tell a lot of people, man, enjoy the legends while they're here. I may not be on super long, but man, Akira Toriyama passed away at 68. Not a super old guy, man. I want you to think about that. Not a super old guy. And I'm 40, I'll be 42 next month. I actually remember watching the original Dragon Ball. I remember it. Young Eldor said he inspired and gave a lot of joy to so many. R.I.P. Yeah, he did. Shout out to him for making characters, fictional characters, that said it's okay to be different. It's okay to make mistakes. And it's okay to be masculine. And don't forget the Diary of a Mad Snowman every 11:30 Eastern Standard. I mean, you got to think about it. It's gateway anime for so many people. If it wasn't for Dragon Ball, a lot of you people, how the hell? I would know what anime is because I watched it. But so many people, especially the 90s babies, wouldn't know what the fuck anime was without, Dragon Ball. You can't think of anime without thinking of Dragon Ball first. Naruto and One Piece probably a second and third. I'll let you pick who's second and third, but we all know who's number one, without a shadow of a doubt, is Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball is pretty much the essence of anime. It's the spirit. This is the equivalent of when Stan Lee passed a few years ago. You get what I'm saying? It's somebody who created a very interesting universe of characters that are so iconic that they're part of the core of America. Think of part of the core of Japan when they had the Olympics in Tokyo a couple of years ago. They literally had Goku as one of the guest presenters. Jeez. They literally had Goku on PSAs, public service announcements. So his character and his writing, touched a lot of people. Every boy wanted to be the world's strongest, wanted to challenge his masculinity. And he wrote stories where it was unapologetically masculine. So, Shout out to him for that. I mean, what's crazy is that sometimes you got to go outside the box to make a classic. I won't even say sometimes, you usually do. You usually have to step out on faith or take a leap of that damn thing. Excuse me. Take a leap of that damn thing. And say, hey, I gotta make it do what it do. Why don't you think about that? You watch the original Dragon Ball from what, 86? And to develop Dragon Ball Z, which is in the manga is still Dragon Ball. But you're just seeing him from young childhood to adult. You're basically seeing the story of Goku well into when he becomes a grandfather. And if you get the gist of writing Goku, you don't have to always be the strongest, the fastest, the smartest. Sometimes you just gotta try. And it's crazy because when you think about the 80s and a lot of the cartoons and anime, comic books, and manga that came out, it was about trying to be the best man that you could be. Now you got kids who are being told that masculinity is toxic. It's kind of funny how there are so many chicks out there who love Dragon Ball, wear the merchandise, but will call men toxic. I find that kind of hilarious. But what if he never wrote this character that inspired people to not only lift weights who were very sickly and scrawny or bedridden because they were sick? What happens if he never wrote these characters who challenged the status quo, who said it's okay to fight for what's right? Will we complain? Will we appreciate? Probably not. Probably not. You know, being a kid, especially during the 80s, when you're the last generation to see two-parent households as the norm, and you're the first generation to see the mass exodus of splitting of the homes, a lot of times these young boys out there, especially ones who are a little bit younger than me, they didn't have that masculine presence in the home. They didn't have that the man in the house for whatever reason. But you know, you could tune in to these iconic characters and hear the stories of what would happen or what would this character do when he was faced with some type of tremendous evil or stress. You can insert Superman, insert Goku. Pretty much to me the same character, damn near. And that character would be very interesting. Why? Because you get to find out what it means to stand up against evil, what it means to stand up against wrongdoing, injustice. Sometimes masculinity is going to be hard that way. Sometimes you got to challenge the status quo. Sometimes you got to stand up for other people who can't fight for themselves. And that's what these characters fundamentally teach. When you read Superman, when you read Goku, you're reading anti-feminism. They're reading pro-masculinity. It doesn't mean that, hey, we hate women. No, it's just that we have to go and we have to live in a world where men have to protect their families, themselves, children, elderly, and their country. We're at a time in this country where characters like that need to persist. Oh, yeah. Why are you trying to speed up in front of me, lady? Jesus, you're a nutcase. You're trying to cut me off at every turn that you got. Jesus. I'm driving a freaking Charger. You got like a damn... Let's go get these people. But yeah, a lot of your masculinity, a lot of your inspiration to get through the day came through some of these characters. You watch Goku train day after day, take on people that were more powerful. You've seen it when the stakes were high and you possibly could die. You've seen it when he had to make some very heavy choices in life. It's funny because when I look at Goku, I look at him the same way as Superman. It's not about how powerful the character is. The real question is he going to do the right thing? Is he going to stand up for those who can't fight for themselves? Is he going to make the right choice? Is he going to allow his worst parts of him to actually come out? But yet, there's an overabundance of saying that masculinity has to be tamped. What about the heroes? Every time they mess with your heroes, well, we should make a A girl just as strong. Then I have to ask you this question. Are women predicated on being Superman or Goku? No, they are not. Because a man's strength is what he can protect, what he can build, what he might have to destroy, and what he maintains. A woman's not predicated on all that. What do women build? What do they protect? They don't do it in the same context as men. And this is not trying to shit on women. No. It's just a contextual. Why? You're going to need people who are able to protect those who are weaker. You're going to need people who's going to learn mercy, kindness, even though they're powerful. You're going to need to learn to persevere through tough times, through difficulties. That's what those characters that Akira Toriyama was making. Think of the character development in Vegeta alone, who in my opinion is the most developed character in Dragon Ball. He went from planet conqueror to devoted husband and father. Is that something that young men need to follow? I'll ask the question again. Is that an example of what young men need to follow? One more time for the Negroes in the back. Is that an example that young men should follow? Sometimes it's not about the hero falling down, it's about the hero learning to get back up again that teaches boys to persevere. When you have your Superman, he's down and out. His Goku, he's down and out. They know they're not as powerful as the enemy, but guess what? They gotta try. They gotta battle. They gotta persevere. What happens when you have that? What happens when you build men of perseverance? You develop greatness. You develop some type of self-esteem. You develop warriors. You develop people who should be running countries. What's up, King? I'm really, I'm really taken back because I'm the same way when I heard about Stan Lee. All these iconic characters that people love. Think of the story of Gohan from whiny kid to one day being the strongest person in the universe. Think of Piccolo when he was basically the spawn of a demon king, turned ally, turned surrogate father, if not uncle figure, for Gohan into being a friend and family of Son Gohan and and Goku. Someone who's reliable. These characters are iconic not just because of the powers, it's because of the story and the decisions and living life abundantly. Think about it. He didn't even make it to 70, but his impact will be felt forever. His impact will be felt forever. Think about it. I'm gonna tell you a secret. Everybody's wife is probably mean as hell at some point. So Goku learned Goku learned to stay away so, he could stay married for a minute. Why don't we think about it and hey, yep, muted. So think about that. You're right, Mister. We forget that he used to be a whiny, scared kid. We tease Gohan about being a whiny, scared kid, but let me tell you a little secret. The majority of us, if not all of us, were whiny, scared kids. The majority of us were. 99.99 of children, percent of children, can relate to Gohan because they were small, scared of the unknown, afraid, had to grow up faster than they planned, put through rough situations, probably bullied. So that's pretty relatable. Pretty relatable. We got to remember that we have to be thankful to a lot of these artists and writers while they're still above ground. And trust me, Akira Toriyama was heavily praised while he was still with us. Heavily. Just like Stan Lee was, just like George Perez, just like Neil Adams. People who are not afraid to give you something that's different, that's courageous. We don't even. I'm going to stop right there for a second. When's the last time did you ever hear of a story, cartoon, comic, anime, manga, whatever, when you heard the word courageous? When's the last time you heard that? When's the last time you seen an American cartoon where the male character was courageous? I'll wait. I will wait. You don't typically see it. You're right. Life is never promised tomorrow. That's why you live for the day. I mean, when's the last time you heard of a comic book American cartoon? Well, let's start with American cartoons. When's the last time you heard of a character being called courageous? And I don't even think they called Miles Morales courageous. They never used the word. Which is crazy. I just thought about that. You don't even hear that word anymore in the lexicon of Americans' everyday speaking. But they will want to push the masculinity in the back and prop up the girls, which I'm like, I'm okay with female heroes, but why do you have to shit on the men and make them incompetent to make the female look good? If she's good, she's going to be good. I, it's funny. When you look at things in that perspective, you're like, wow, what's going on? What's truly going on, huh? Think about it. We're losing the legends, but are we losing our masculinity at the same time? It makes you think, doesn't it? King said it's all about their bitterness towards men. That's why they make those female characters more masculine. Yeah. Mister said, now that I think about it, I don't remember any cartoon comic character being afraid of anything. They've always got to business. That's not courageous, it's fearless. They're different. Exactly. Courageous is going through struggle. Think about it. Struggle. Courageous is going when the odds are not in your favor. Courageous is when you let people know the difference between the good guys and bad guys. Does anybody in the chat know the difference between the good guys and the bad guys? The bad guys use human shields. The good guys are the human shields. Okay? Courage is doing something when adversity comes, despite of fear, despite of adversity. Think about it. Many of us who are anime, comic book, cartoon, manga fans, we never said we didn't like the female characters. Hell, I love She-Ra, Princess of Power. I love Wonder Woman. I love She-Hulk. Some of the best comics. Hell, even Jane Foster Thor was a good read. We never knocked them and said, fuck that. Give us the guys. No. But you're knocking the guys who are the little boys who read this shit, man, and who are being taught. Sometimes you gotta be courageous. Sometimes you gotta have the courage to do what's not popular. And that's what it boils down to. A lot of people do not realize or won't realize how important guys like that, like Akira Toriyama and Stan Lee, were. You literally had the imaginations of young boys and young girls in the palm of your hand. Think about it. Sometimes you got in some of these battles, which you could speak about Goku, Superman, or insert hero here, not because you wanted to prove that you're the most powerful. Sometimes you did it just to help a friend. Sometimes you gain more power to help people that can't help themselves. I want you to think about it. There are some young people who would not help an elderly person get their shopping bags. You're strong. You have vitality. Why not help that person who's having trouble? That's what the characters were teaching kids. When you look at a Goku or Superman, it wasn't about express your sexuality. It wasn't about, hey, be better than everybody. No, it was called help your fellow man. It's called be a better person. Too many times have we looked at these characters as just characters. No. They're more than that. Just like the people who created them. How many times did Goku fight a battle where it's not about him getting stronger, it's about protecting the people of Earth? How many times did Superman did that? How many times they would have sacrificed themselves? What did Jordan Peterson said? A man should be the most dangerous person he can be, but keep it under control. What did Man of Arms say to Skeletor when he told him? Unlike you, Adam had the courage to actually what? Give the power back. Just because you gain power, money, wealth, you still have an obligation to give it back at some point. You have to give back and raise up the next champion. A lot of people forget in the Boo saga when Goku was like, I wanted to give the next generation a chance. What's the first thing this generation now of Zillennials, Generation Z, complain about? Nobody will give me a chance. Goku said, hey, I could probably beat him. Maybe, maybe not, but I want to give you a chance to figure it out. I want you to learn how to stand on your 2 feet. I want you to be men, not just like me, but better than me. Because if you really think about the Boo Saga technically was more Gohan's arc. And a lot of people forget that technically Toriyama was trying to transition Gohan into being the hero of the story, the protagonist. What was Superman telling his son before they did all that LGBT bullshit? And yes, I can say that it was bullshit. Why? Because it holds no grounds for the story. It does not progress the story. All it is just a quick cash grab because you're not as talented as writers as the people from yesteryear. I said it, there it is. I loved it when Superman came back and Superman Rebirth, when Jonathan Kent was still like around 11, 10, 11, 12, and he was teaching his son that you're going to get these powers and you're going to one day have to be able to control them. You can't abuse them. Is that not something a father tells their son? But we want to worry about people's gender. We want to worry about people, well, how you feel. Sometimes just because you feel like something, it still doesn't mean you don't progress. Have you ever, and this is how you know it's an agenda. They never make a character who's homosexual, and that character starts out that way. Why? And trust me, there are good stories with people in comics who were homosexual the whole time. And it was very intriguing on how that person was and not just their sexuality. I know the old joke about Goku is that he's a bad father, but no, Goku is actually a really good father. Every time Goku died, if anybody noticed, it was saving his goddamn son. Every time. When he fought against Raditz, his older brother, who was significantly stronger than him, and when he fought against, when he took Cell away to protect his son from when he was exploding, when he was self destructing. What father would not do that for their child? Can I ask that question? This is the type of things that came out of the mind of Toriyama. What a father should be like. Think about it. Goku never always agreed with Chi Chi, but he loved his wife. He even stayed away purposely for 7 years. Why? So his son can be the savior of the fucking world. He literally said, here, son, it's your turn to carry on the tradition. You got to appreciate that type of brilliance. You got to. I'm definitely going to talk about this later on in the morning when the sun rises. As I always say, it doesn't count until the sun's out. But man, we lost a good legend, man. Lost a good legend. Lost a good one. I think there's a lot of fear going around. And I agree with you. The 80s was the golden age of masculinity. You had He-Man, Rocky, Apollo Creed. You had, I'll even add in Rambo and the Terminator. A revamped Batman, Conan the Barbarian. You also had Lion-O, the Thundercats. You had Panthro. You had Tigra. You had the Silverhawks. Yeah, Jesus. You had G.I. Joe, for God's sake. You had the animated cops. You had a lot of masculine shows. And I'll ask you right now, what show do you currently have that's masculine again? The masculinity is so low when it comes to current cartoons is that they had to revamp He-Man to bring back a masculine character again. And that's why your modern audience is weak. What did this guy say back in 1940? You had young men lying about their age to go fight in the war. In 2024, you got young men lying to themselves that they're girls. Think about it. I remember watching Rambo First Blood on my dad's lap. I remember watching The Octagon with Chuck Norris. I'll even judge you by anime standards, right? I'll challenge you and call that bullshit. Here it is. Go look at anime in the 80s. City Hunter, Fist of the North Star. And look at the heroes you have now coming out. They look nothing alike, do they? Don't get me wrong, I like My Hero Academia, but I'm sorry. Kinshiro will probably kick the living shit out of Deku. Just by masculine looks alone. Voltron, in some ways, Thundercats. I mean, look at Gundam back in the day. Transformers. I mean, we had the most masculine death on scene with Optimus Prime. That shit was more masculine than some live action movies. Marshall Bravestar, for God's sakes. Strength of a motherfucking bear. I challenge anybody on this notion. Go back to anime in the 80s. Look up fucking City Hunter. I mean, fuck. Wicked City was edgy shit. Yeah, it was. I mean, goddamn. You want to tell me What was more fucking crazy than than Akira? Go back to Vampire Hunter D. Go back to the 80s fucking Devil Man. Even fucking Project Echo was more manly than most of the shit that's being pumped out today. Demon City. Yep. Okato no Shinken was Japanese for fuck you up. That's what it was. You were already his fucking shit was you were already dead. The cash-ins was hard as shit too. I mean, God sakes, what was better than fucking G-Force? I mean, fuck around and find out what Astro Boy, Ronin Warriors. Motherfucking Gigantor and shit. What's the one boxing anime? Think about the original JoJo. I mean, here's a good question. Did you really think about all the JoJo Bizarre Adventures, how they became less and less masculine with every iteration until they went to fucking JoJo's daughter, an actual female? None of y'all caught that, did you? I mean, think about it. Dolph Lundgren in so many movies, I would break you. When he was fucking He-Man, because back then he actually looked like fucking He-Man. Y'all forget, y'all don't even want to admit when Jean-Claude Van Damme ruled the fucking 90s action scene. Oh yeah. That watch that fucking anime. You want to talk about masculinity. I think the anime that brought back and saved masculinity was actually the fucking Baki series. Oh, don't forget Kickboxer. I still listen to fucking. They still got the Dio car scene band off YouTube. I mean, really, Cowboy Bebop. I'm gonna tell you, the original Baki was what saved masculinity for a lot of anime. Like, I mean, you want to watch a fucking kung fu film, Jim, that you don't hear talk about? Go look up. If you love jazz and you love private detective work and bounty hunting, you're gonna love fucking Cowboy Bebop. And when I'm at BlurCon, I usually play the theme outside with my big speakers. I keep telling you motherfuckers, my brain works differently than most people. I notice shit that I'm not supposed to notice. Notice JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. They became more and more feminine. Matter of fact, whatever happened to Try Guy? If you motherfuckers want to look at some good masculinity, I want you to write this down. Go watch Samurai 7. Go watch it. Go watch it. Thank me later. Matter of fact, I'll make a bet with you. I'll say this, and I'll make a bet with you. Go watch Samurai 7 and tell me if the shit wasn't manly and great. If it was great, donate $10 or $20. If it's full of shit, not only can you berate me on my show and tell me how full of shit I was, you can unsubscribe and I'll donate to you. Don't even get started with Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll is what fucking anime was measured against. You didn't have a good anime if you couldn't measure against Ninja Scroll. And in my personal opinion, Samurai 7 is up there with Ninja Scroll. Ninja Scroll is what you show motherfuckers what anime is all about. Another hidden gem you don't hear talked about as much. The fucking anime Claymore. Oh, I could go. Oh, I know. Trust me, Ray Hama. When it comes to a library, I know. Thank God for Funimation and and Crunchyroll, because my shit was getting real pricey and spacey. Yeah, talk about the 5 deadly venoms. Game of Death, the Octagon, Delta Force. I got to go to my father's generation. Fucking Billy Jack. Where most of the Kung Fu movies are from his generation, so I'll say that. Well, let's Return of the 5 Deadly Venoms, Crippled Avengers. Ninja versus Shaolin. Shaolin versus Llama. Police Story. Super Cop. American Ninja. Of course, Bloodsport. I mean, there's so many fucking things I could talk about, man. Kid with the golden arms. The Street Fighter with Shoni Chiba. If you want to see a good martial arts flick, that's a gem from back in the day. Go look up Jet Li when he plays when he's in Contract Killers. That was a great action flick. It's funny as hell too, but it's a great action flick. Think about it. Well, Angry Black Man, I'm a combination of both because we watch Saturday morning cartoons till 12 o'clock. Then 12 o'clock on Channel 54, you watch Kung Fu Black Belt Theater. Then after Black Belt Theater, you watch the fucking scary movies. And then at the fucking 4 o'clock, you watch fucking WWE or WWF. And then you watch WCW after that. Trust me, go watch that motherfucking go watch that motherfucking Samurai 7. Tell me what the fuck you think about it. Not only was the anime good, shit. Remember when they used to have the syndicated version of fucking Dragon Ball? And all you heard was Dragon Ball Z. Dragon. Oh, come on now. You didn't get pumped after watching the fucking intro for that? Yeah, Saturdays were the best back then. All that shit was masculine. Masculine as fuck. Samurai 7 is up there, in my opinion, with Ninja Scroll. Oh, yeah, the Ocean dub where they showed the blood. Oh, my God. I used to get the cassette tapes of fucking Dragon Ball. I mean, think about this shit. When you had fucking Trunks first come out, and they were premiering Trunks, are you like, who the fuck is Trunks? I had the cassette tape when they had Trunks fighting fucking Frieza, and he sliced the motherfucker in half. I mean, can I get a remake of Pirates of Dark Waters? Can I get a remake of Brave Star? No agenda, just fucking Brave Star. The Trunks intro was one of the greatest intros of all fucking time in all of anime. He came out there with the polo boots, with the slick ass members only jacket, with the tank top, with the motherfucking sword on his back. Oh man. Oh man. I mean, think about this, right? I want you to tell you how important Toriyama was. You wouldn't have had fucking Naruto without Dragon Ball. Naruto was just Goku, only younger, same color suit, same hungry attitude, same, knuckle-headed kid. The promo for fucking History of Trunks. The music was fire. Oh, Knight Rider 18, nothing but fucking Dukes of Hazzard. There's some good old boys. Oh yeah, they ain't meaning no harm. Oh yeah. I mean, hey, you would have had a lot of anime characters without Goku. Do you know how much homage do other anime creators hold for Toriyama when they actually put the Kamehameha wave in their animes just to pay homage? It's no different than when modern artists redo iconic comic book cover. For example, when Beta Ray Bill was the first person in comics to grab Thor's hammer and lift it, they recreated it with War Thor, and they actually put in the caption when they signed it, "We are not worthy," and they actually said from whom they copied from. Naruto's good. It's not as long as you think. Trust me, it's not as long as you think. In some parts, you're going to want it to be longer. Naruto's so good that some of its filler episodes are better than the actual anime episodes of other shows. Yeah, 90s Spider-Man was the shit. One of the best theme songs of ever. But come on, everybody know the greatest 90s cartoon of all time was Batman the Animated Series. Tell me one cartoon that was better. None. Sorry. Batman, yeah. Second would be, I think it would be, well, the Disney shows were all great animation. But I'm going to tell you, a lot of people slept on with Gargoyles. Oh, they pay a lot of homage to fucking Dragon Ball. Hmm. Maybe X-Men, but the 90s had so many good ones. It might be X-Men, but number one is going to be Batman the Animated Series. There's no fucking way you can convince me of other. Number one is Batman the Animated Series. And the one way they fucked up the new X-Men, they didn't give Rogue back her ass. That's a Southern belle, and she has a Southern ass. That's the only way you make her up, man. Only motherfucking way. But y'all want me to give you one more gem? Keith David. He's also the voice of Hordak um in the Masters of the Universe Revolution. Keith David. And Keith David is also the voice of Spawn in the HBO series and in Mortal Kombat 11. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you another gem, right? Go to Disney Plus and watch all the Gargoyles. That was a good ass show. That was a good show for the 90s. X-Men. Of course, number one is Batman the Animated Series, because that series actually spawned into the New Adventures of Superman and Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. As a matter of fact, here's a real good gem that I'm going to give y'all. Thank me later. Go to Disney Plus, go look at Marvel, go to the cartoons, and watch the 90s Fantastic Four. That shit was actually pretty good for its time. The 90s Fantastic Four was great animation, great story, and it was good as fuck. Batman Beyond, too. I like Batman Beyond. The Tick was funny, but I wouldn't call it the greatest. I wouldn't even put it in my top 10. Um, Darkwing Duck's probably higher on the list than anything else. But then again, Darkwing Duck had some fire ass episodes too. Go watch Disney Plus Fantastic Four. Not the '90s, not the grunge rocking looking ones, but the go to the '90s ones. Not the 2000s when they made them like look like they're fucking rappers and shit. Mask of the Phantasm was better than most live action movies. Shit. Let me get out of here, folks. Hopefully all of you can come back around 8:30, 8:45 when we talk about, more about Akira Toriyama and also masculinity and anime and comic books. And we can actually have you up on a panel for a little bit. So come join me at about 8:45, all right, folks? Woo! Thank you. And, we got to say, everybody give a special woo to Toriyama. Heaven's got a good one, man. Heaven's got a good one. Woo! And Kamehameha out. Come back here about 8:45 this morning. Woo! And we're going to talk some more about it. Everybody give a special woo and thank you to Akira Toriyama. Thank you for the beautiful memories. Thank you for the masculinity that was unapologetic. Thank you for being you. You were highly appreciated. Go get your eternal rest, good sir. Come back 8:45. Woo! We out.